What's up? Welcome to Trackletics Live, the ultimate show for all things track and field. Join us as we dive deep into the sport, interviewing track and field athletes, coaches, nutrition specialists, and more. Get ready to hear some dope conversations and gain exclusive insight into what it takes to become a top performer in the sport. Whether you're a seasoned track and field athlete or just starting off, this is the show for you. So make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Let's get into the show. Everyone, let's welcome Evaldo.
Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down and have this conversation with me. I'm excited to get to know a lot more about your journey. I see where you started, where you came from, and where you are now. And you got a lot going on. You've accomplished a lot so far, and you got so much more room to go. So much room to grow. So before we get into what you're accomplishing now, we're gonna take it all the way back, all the way back. How did you start running track? What is your track and field story?
Yeah, so I started running track since I was 6, you know, since primary school. And my sisters, I got 5 siblings. All of them are my sisters, 4 of them, they were older than me, So I'm like second to last out of all my siblings,
Dang.
So the 4 of them, they started off with track. And since then, everybody in my household started doing track that were older than me, So it's like I just pick up that mental.
Was it a competition thing at home? Like you wanted to be able to beat your sisters? Was it's the family business, everybody's doing it, we're doing well, so I want to join too? Like track is not an easy sport, so what made you want to jump in?
Well, I saw since all right, the reason why I started to do track is when I was small, I watched the 2008 Olympics, and that 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 one in Beijing, like it blew my mind away, in terms of like how well my country did, and that just motivated me to like, okay, I'm gonna start once I get in primary school, I'm gonna start, and I started in the second grade, and the rest was the next 4 years going in transitioning into the sixth grade to seventh grade. The rest of that was like history,
Rest is history. Where were you when you were watching the 2008 Olympics? And how old were you?
I was 9 years old, 8, 9 years old.
So real young.
Yeah, and I
Man,
can
where were you?
I can vividly remember I was in my house along with my mother and my father in the couch sitting watching the 100-meter finals, you know, and that to me that's still the craziest race I ever watched.
Yeah, that's definitely an historic race for sure. I'm sure that inspired a lot of people to continue their journey or even go pick up a pair of spikes for sure. But that's dope. So you're from Jamaica, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah.
what was that? What was the impact of Usain Bolt winning that Olympics? What was the impact on your home? Like,
Yeah, it was a major impact, Um, there's like a lot of noise and stuff, People are proud, especially just being from a very small island with a rich amount of talent, and to see an athlete that came from Jamaica, come from Jamaica, and go all the way in Beijing just to do that, it was crazy. So it motivated not just me, but a lot of young athletes that were from my community, but not just only in my community, but all over in the country to participate in track and just not use it as, you know, a normal recreational activity.
that's dope. Yeah, definitely inspiring for sure. But you said it motivated you, inspired you, and helped you understand and see, what you can really accomplish. Somebody from your country can really do. But that was when you were 8, 9 years old. That's a very long time ago. So what's keeping you motivated today to continue to train, and to become this athlete that you are today? You know? What motivated you this whole time?
Yeah, I didn't see track as just a recreational use, like something that I just get up and just do just because I wanted to do it. I see it as, a God-given purpose that the one thing that I have to do is that, okay, this is something that I'm born with. This is a talent that I'm actually born with. Then I ask myself the questions, what step I can take? What are the steps that I can take in order to be better at my craft, you know? And it takes a lot of confidence to ask yourself those questions because it's going to take a matter of, self-critique for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months, and you just got to be real with yourself, and once you're being real with yourself and knowing, okay, based on the result that I've stamped on the track, how further do you see yourself can go in the future with this? And then you just gauge it from there and just, take the opportunities that present yourself.
Take the opportunity. You never know how far it can take you. That's dope. What was high school like in your country, especially with track and field? I know it's huge there. What was your experience like?
That's something that I would never regret. Like going to high school, like high school is teach me a lot about
Mhm.
hierarchies in terms of like levels. So the top schools, like there are top three schools that were competing for the title, you know. Uh, Calabar High School, which I used to go, Jamaica College, and Kingston College. Those are
Mhm.
like the top three best high schools in track and field, you know. And normally, usually they call those schools like traditional schools, because they're like well known across the country. So
Across the world.
and across
Across
and
the
across
world, if we
and
being
across the
honest.
world too.
Yeah.
So it's like when we're competing, like in my high school, I came I came to high school running the 100 and the 200 because at primary school, I left the primary school championships being the 100 and 200 meter champion in my
Nice.
age group. So I came there in seventh grade, and the guys that were in eighth grade, in reality, they were much faster. So for me, I had to be real with myself and say, okay, I know that for my first year, I'm just going to use this first year as an experience. And there are like a bunch of guys that possibly could be on the reserve team. And out of all those guys that were in seventh grade that were picked to be on the reserve team, only four was chosen. Only four. Only four. Because the crazy thing is one of the four guys that was picked with me in seventh grade to be a reserve. He's on the live right now.
Hey,
You know,
hey.
yeah, which is
Thanks for the
crazy.
support. You tuning in. That's dope.
Yeah, his name is Nick Way. You know, so shout out to him. Because it was just four of us. Me, Nick Wayne, a guy called Craig, and another guy called Tedrick. It was just four of us. And I realized that I was blessed. Because it was just four of us, and it could be any other one. Because I didn't. To me, it's not a random. I don't think it was a random pick.
Right.
It must be for a specific purpose. So once I see that they selected me for a reason, I know that once I reach my second year in the eighth grade, I know I'm going to become better.
I agree. I agree. What was the journey like from high school out there to college? What was that
The journey
experience
from
like?
the journey from high school to college, the transition was it was a culture shock to me, you know, because in my last 2 years, on my trajectory leaving high school, I started to really click. I started to really, really click in my academics, because to be honest, in my first couple of years, I didn't take academics serious, to be honest, you know. And once I saw that, I was like, okay, I saw the NCAA championships. I see how fast a lot of the guys that, you know, went to my high school or went probably running, you know, or even if they weren't in my high school, I know that they competed a chance. They were like running 43s, 44. I saw, I think 2018, I saw Nathan Allen and Akeem Bloomfield. They were running against Michael Norman in that 400-meter final. I know everybody remember that 43.6. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw Bloomfield run 43.9. And I saw Nathan Allen run 44.1. And as a 400-meter athlete, I'm like, holy shit, these college guys, they are playing.
Nah.
And I think that actually gives me a reason, you know, to also step into the collegiate system in the US, along with knowing that okay, here in Jamaica, it's a lesser developed country than America in reality, and I had to be real with the fact that okay, I am not from a I would say from a suburban place, you know, I'm from a inner city community, so I need to every the opportunity that I got to go to JUCO, I take it, you know, because I know that one of the main goals was to go to D1, but I know going to JUCO is a step. I didn't see it as a step back, you know. I also see it as a step forward, knowing that I'm leaving the confines of my environment that I grew up in to grow myself, not just as an athlete, but as a person.
Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely as a person, right? You're a student athlete. The athletics is it's the main focus. It's our passion. You know, it's what we're here for. It's what we're here to talk about as well. You know, but there's a lot more that you can get out of the sport and out of college than just the athletics. You know, you meet some good friends that become your brothers. You know, you might meet a coach that becomes a mentor, and you really see yourself start to develop and become the man that you want to be or that you should be. So that's great for sure. You know, it's not just all about track, because there does come a point where we have to hang our track spikes up. You know,
Yeah.
you can't run forever. You know, Usain Bolt he had to hang his spikes up. You know, so I completely understand that, and I agree with it for sure. But why come to America for college when you've already seen the fastest athlete ever, Usain Bolt? He did it straight from Jamaica. I've always wondered that, you know. There's definitely great opportunities out here for sure. But what made you feel like this was the best opportunity for you or the route to help you get where you want to go? Why not just stay in Jamaica and train?
Okay. So for me, before I went to JUCO, I took the the high school championships. My last high school championships was in May 2021, and I went to JUCO in August. So I had at least a 2.5 month span to really be introspective about my decision leaving the country, you know, and I realized that it's not just about the goal is not just about track. It's about also diversifying myself in different fields. Like for example, if I do track, I know that I'm not gonna be in my peak physical performance when I'm 36, 37, you know, 35, because you know no one does sports forever, you know. So coming here not just only helped me to get better in the sport or my God-given talent, but also to diversify myself in different fields, such as for example, I know that, you know, working on a major, for example, being a physiotherapist, you can also, the money that you get from track, you can also disperse that into, I would say, for example, real estate. You know, you want your money to grow, you know, the things that you can't be working so hard during the collegiate years, getting your degree, then you get a job, and then you're stuck at that same spot. You want to diversify yourself, not just on a monetary aspect, but also networking with other individuals, so that you can know things, you can know other things, because you know one of the greatest things that I've learned since I've been here in the US, that you can't be self-centered on your journey. You gotta be able to network. You gotta step out of your shell. You gotta step out of this shell and go to people that have already been in your shoes, that have already been through the trials and tribulations that you are gonna eventually face as you take part in your journey. You know.
I love that. That's deep. That's deep for sure. As we were just saying, it's not just about track. It's really about who you're becoming, the resources you're gaining, the network you're building, um, yeah, and your future plans. So that's deep for sure. Um, what made you choose that school specifically, right? As fast as you were running, I know you might have had different offers, different coaches telling you, "Hey, I can help you out. Come here, come run with us, come train with us." What made you choose that school specifically?
Okay. So what made me choose this school is because number one, it's in the DFW area. You know, I am not I'm not that type of person who wants to stay in an area that, for example, has like 100,000 people. You know, because I'm not just thinking about track. You know, I'm thinking about putting myself in a bigger area, in a bigger metropolitan area, where there's an abundance amount of opportunities that I can reach out to once I put in that work. Before I came here, I know that okay, I got an offer to go to UNT. First thing I do, I search up the population in the metroplex area, 6.5 million people. And I'm like, okay, this is this is this is great, because the bigger the city you're in, the more opportunities it presents itself. So, and also second, the coach, you know, um, based on like based on her credentials and her track record in terms of her coaching, throughout her years, she has a good record. She has a good record of producing good athletes, especially athletes in my event, in the 400 and 200 meters. And
True.
also while having a good connection, she's from Jamaica too as well.
Ah,
So that created a good connection, in terms of trusting that step, trusting our program, and also knowing that having a great support system, who has your best interest at heart, is great. To me, it's not all about the school name, you know, and how popular the school is across the country. I mean that plays a part too. But what's the most important thing is what you go to the school and do. You know, because a D1, you got a lot of D1 schools, but the different what separates the D1 schools, the good ones, from I would say, the average ones, is the program that's within it. You know, the type of people you're surrounded by. Number one. That's key. The training program. Two, the resources. Four, the city that you live in. Five, and how you can commute yourself from, for example, when I say commute yourself, I'm talking from an international athlete perspective. Like for
ah,
example, like for example, being in Dallas, I'm going to visit my family. Boom, from DFW straight home. Nothing, nothing stressing. You know, knowing that okay, and also most importantly too, the climate as
ah.
well. I say to my, I say to myself that I'm from a very hot country, which I'm used to. I'm used to the heat. Average temperatures there is like 85 degrees,
Dang.
and I'm from the hottest city. from the
Yeah.
hottest city in the country, Portmore, you know, which the heat is not normal right there, but I'm used to it. So when I realized that, okay, you know, if I say to myself before I come to UNT, before I even get an offer to come to UNT, is that okay? I'm not going anywhere past like either Oklahoma, Kansas, or anywhere because those no,
It's just
it's
not
too
gonna work.
cold. It's not gonna work. Like
That's
no,
funny.
it's not gonna work. I always prefer a hot place. You know, either west or either the West Coast, Midwest, not up top
Okay.
Midwest like Iowa does.
Yeah.
No, you know, just that strip. I'll strip
Yeah.
down. Nowhere else. You know, so that's it.
That's funny. Now I understand that because uh, I'm from California, Southern California, so it's nice weather here. We got the beach and all. So yeah, I don't want to do the snow and nah, I'm cool. A couple of my friends transferred schools and went out to Colorado, and I'm like, pass, bro. Never went to visit them. I see you when you come back home. I'm cool on all of that, so I completely understand. Sounds like you're in a great environment, good coach. She understands where you're from, you know, and how to help you get to where you want to be. So that's huge. That's a major key right there, you know. As well as having, like you said, the people that you surround yourself with. You have a solid group of teammates helping, push you and making sure that you guys are all focused. So that's a major key for sure. Um, what is training like for you? Like, what are you currently working on for this upcoming season?
Okay, so for me, I'm working on a lot of long-term goals, you know, and those goals actually entail have to entail a different type of mindset. So for my freshman and sophomore year going to JUCO, it was all about me adjusting to the system, you
Mhm.
know, to the collegiate system, getting my feet up, and understand my environment as times goes by. So I know that okay, these first 2 years, I'm a nail these first 2 years, you know, in order to put myself in a good position so that when I'm going to transition myself into D1, I know that I can actually add value, you know, towards the team. And intrinsically, I know that the program, the goal is not just the NCAAs, but also further on, you know.
Right.
So I had to know that okay, this program is regimented for me to not just go to the NCAAs or go indoors or go to conference indoors, but also to keep me keep my legs going, you know,
Right.
until
It's a
you
long
know,
term plan.
yeah,
So
until the
what are your
tryouts.
goals? What are your goals for this coming season? Right? Do you have any time specific goals? Are you looking to win the championships? What's going on? What's on your radar for the season?
Okay, I'm not focused on the times. You know, the main goal is to keep healthy. You know, trust myself. You know, trust my body, trust my ability. You know, because number one, what I always focus on, like for example, I focus on trajectory. You know, not the destination. It's all about going up. You know, for example, coming here at UNC in August, I asked myself, okay, what are the things that I need to do on a daily basis, you know, in order to keep myself on that trajectory and going up? Because once I do that, I know that I don't have to worry about the time because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, for example, number one, you know, what do I eat? You know, how much I sleep, those simple things, you know, getting treatment, you know, taking pride in my work ethic and see and do not neglect the resources that are being presented to me, you know, because that's what separates a lot of people, you know. So for me, the main focus is one quote that I always have in my head is that, you know, it's all about how much you can push yourself, but it's all about what you can push yourself. You can't focus on what you can get away with, because if you focus on what you can get away with, then you're not gonna be competitive. You know,
True.
when it
You
comes
won't
on a
reach your best.
conference, not everybody. You think you're the. I think that I'm not the one that has this goal. Thousands of other athletes wants to go to the NCAA, but it all depends on what it takes. What do you want to do on a daily basis? What do you want to do? What are the resources that are presented to you want to take advantage of? What are the type of people that you surround yourself with? Because I realized that when I came here, there are a lot of distractions, you know. But coming in, I already calloused my mind from those distractions, because the JUCO that I was from, it was very diverse, and there's pros and cons to being in a very diverse environment. The pros for being in a diverse environment is that you can be able to network with different individuals from all walks of life. You can train with you can train with individuals that they have the same drive as you, because as international athletes, we might have different goals, but our purposes are actually aligned.
True.
For example, I can train with a guy that's from, for example, Morocco. Like, he can grow up in a inner city community in Morocco, and I can grow up in an inner city community in Jamaica. And we both have the same purpose of, okay, track is our thing. We got to make it out, and we just go hard. But the cons of it, is that it's a lot of distractions. People can sway this way, sway that way. So it's all about me calculating my mind, and the goal is to keep healthy, you know, listen to my body. Second, you know, go when it's time to go, you know, and making it to the championships, the NCAA championships is always a big goal, but I I I made that goal. I made those goals for myself, but really focus on I don't really focus on that much. I focus on the things that I need to do in between, the micro goals,
Right.
the daily systems.
The daily
Those
stuff.
are, yeah, that's the foundation. The foundation is the belly of is the I'll say the belly of the goal. You know, the things that the destinations, the start and the destination, yeah, those are key. That's something that you can write. Get up in the morning, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning and write. But what about the things that you need to do from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m. during those days? Those are the daily systems that you need to take habits. I heard a quote that from the, I heard a quote from Denzel Washington that says that dreams are just dreams, but without goals, they often fuel disappointment.
Hmm.
That's true. You know, the goals are the things that are in between. So
Yep. He said
I think,
dreams are fleeting. That's deep there. So with those dreams, right? To become a champion, to make it to the next level, potentially to, make it to the Olympic stage. What are the daily things that you're working on, right? What's the routine to keep you healthy? Talk to me about
okay,
that. What are you doing? You said sleeping, eating. How many hours are you sleeping? You have a stretch routine. Do you do prehab, rehab? You working with a physical therapist or anything? Walk me through the routine that you're going through.
okay. So for example, not for example, but what I do. So for my sleep, I get I get 7 to 8 hours rest max. A lot of times 9. You know, woke up, stretch, apply my morning routine every morning. That's key. You know, then after that, I hydrate. Meditate on the check marks that I need to check off throughout the day. Then get some breakfast because a lot of times I can't. What I used to do is that some of the times I used to neglect eating breakfast. That's I stopped doing I stopped doing those stuff. But that was in high school. Since my freshman year when I came to JUCO, I just cut that stuff out. You know, After that, I read, and then I hit the gym because since then now, since it's like the holidays, everything has to change. So after that, I go to the gym. I work out. I have to work out before. I normally like to work out before 2 p.m. So after working out at 2 p.m., I actually, refuel myself, settle myself, go to my apartment, settle myself, eat lunch so I can refuel myself. Then later down, I do my core workout. And after I do my core workout, then I actually go in depth into certain informations and certain tweaks that I can work on with my coach, and also search personal information in terms of how can I get better in terms of my race, my mechanics, all those stuff, along with my coach, because I can't take information. I can't just only take information from the internet. I have to
Gotcha.
get some I have to get some form of, you know, consistent form of self-critique from my coach, in terms because she's the only one she's seeing what I'm doing. She's analyzing the things that I'm doing, my mechanics, my attitude, those things I have to do weekly reviews, not monthly, weekly reviews. And after that, I just eat dinner, rest, chill, and repeat.
Nice. And stay consistent with it so you're staying healthy, getting enough rest, eating well, training hard, mind is focused. Yeah, you're on the right path for sure. For sure. I like that. One thing I did want to ask, what is your favorite post workout meal? What is that meal that you're refilling with after practice?
Okay, my favorite post-workout meal, I would say, is a bagel.
Okay.
A bagel with, I would say, a bagel with chicken breast. It's quite. A lot of times when I do it, it's quite. People see it as quite weird, especially my teammates. But I'm like, it's bagel with chicken breast because I don't bagel with chicken breast with some, I would say, with some carrots on the side, you know, and with some pasta, you know.
Interesting. Okay.
So, so a lot of people realize, my teammates, they're like, what is that you're eating?
That's
And I'm like, bro,
that's
it's
weird.
a
I mean, I was
it's a
right there with
post.
you. I've had a bagel with chicken breast. There's a spot out here that makes a chicken breast bagel sandwich. So I've had that, but you lost me when you started getting to the other, the carrots and it's that's not a whole meal. Now,
No,
it is
it's
the
not. It's not.
macros you need.
It's
That is
not. It's not a
protein and
whole meal.
carbs.
It's not.
But
It's not a whole meal. You know.
But it is,
Sometimes.
it is. That's what I'm saying. It's the solid post workout thing because it is protein and carbs, right? And so carbs are your immediate source of fuel. So you're replenishing your fuel system, and then you got the protein to help build muscle. Just the that's an interesting combination
But
you got
I.
there. But I see it
But
might be
but, but
one of the
also.
tricks of the trade.
But also. But I also have greens on the side too. You
Ah,
know.
right, exactly. So you literally have everything you need. It just doesn't seem like this delicious post-workout meal that most people were trying to create. You're getting straight to it. But like I said, I've had a bagel with chicken breast and it wasn't too bad, so I'm not mad at that. But the side
Nah.
of greens and carrots, I don't know about that. Are you
Okay.
drinking?
Okay. Okay. You see, the thing is that it might be it might be weird to a lot of people, But the thing is that I don't just focus on what just tastes good.
Right.
I focus on the necessary nutrients that I need in order to compete.
Exactly.
Because, for example, I'm not I'm I don't have this ectomorph type of body where I can just eat whatever I want, eat a bunch of sugars. You know, I can gain weight pretty fast. You know, so I have to eat lean food
Right.
consistently.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
in
the proper
order,
nutrients that you
yeah,
need. So that makes sense.
yeah.
Are you refilling with any sports drinks, Gatorades, Powerades? I know a couple runners are now drinking cherry juice and all type of things. What do you have any go-to juices?
Okay, so after practice, during the active practice, Gatorade, Powerade. But one of the main things that I like to do when I reach back to my apartment is drink beetroot. Beetroot because beetroot it has a high level of nitric oxide,
Right.
which increases blood flow. And once that blood flow starts to increase in your capillaries and in your veins, you start to you start to recover faster, especially during sleep.
True.
So yeah.
That's one of the cheat codes. Beetroot juice. Got you. Okay. So we got your post-workout meal, the bagel, chicken breast, some greens, some carrots. We got the beet juice. Um, Now the workout is over, right? There comes a point where we have to hang up our track spikes, right? You mentioned a couple things that you're into, but what are your goals after track?
So my goals off the track is to be to be a physiotherapist, and not just only to be a physiotherapist, but also work in the medical field, like the healthcare field, because I realized that field is actually in high demand. You know,
Yeah.
based on like what I see in the American population, I've realized that as the years goes by, people that are in the healthcare system, it's more in high demand, you know, because I realized that it's not all about what you want to do, what you really want to do, but you also gotta focus on the things that are in high demand.
True.
The jobs that are in high demand in the US, in the city that you want to work in. So for example, you know, if I want to be like, okay, I want to be a physiotherapist, right? You know, someone else want to be like an orthopedic surgeon, or they want to work in the geriatric field or rehabilitation or strength and conditioning. They realize that, okay, you're in Dallas, what are the is the is the thing that you're majoring in, that you can possibly get a job in, is that in high demand? You know, you gotta search that up, and not just search it up or just take the word from the internet. You gotta go to people that you gotta network with people that are in that sort of field. Like for example, in September, I was at like a meeting, I would say like a networking meeting in September in Dallas, with some of my friends in a fellowship group. And I met this woman. She was a occupational therapist. Yes, occupational therapy. And she told me about the ins and out of the business, you know, not just on the surface level, because the internet can give you surface level
Right.
information as well. But what I asked her first before she started conversation is that I don't really want to like just be on this wave of you telling me the surface level stuff. I want to know more, you know. So I realized that, okay, she said those type of stuff, you know, jobs, they're in high demand, you know, and once you realize that, you just gotta take the step and say, okay, you gotta work with what's in high demand. What's in high demand does give you good pay, you know, and you don't want to work 4 years to get a degree, and then you just get this lousy job that's not paying much,
Yeah.
you know,
Or worse,
or
you get the 4-year degree and you don't want to do that type of work, which happens most of the time. Last question. This is my favorite question. And I definitely think you're a perfect guest to ask this to. Especially with your journey, where you've come from. You're in another country, still locked in, training, developing yourself. So looking back on your journey, all the things that you've learned, the resources you've gained, the people that you met, what is one thing that you wish you could have told yourself as a kid, or something you would tell a kid that's reaching out to you now for some tips, some tricks, some pointers, some type of advice, right? What's something you wish you could have told yourself as a kid?
one of the things, well, the main thing I can actually tell them is that, hey, if you're scared to put yourself out there, you ain't gonna make it, because you gotta put yourself out there, you know, you know, you gotta if you're just being passive with what you're doing, it doesn't make any sense, you know. You can't be passive, and that's what I realized with a lot of people is that they're just so passive. You know, I can't be that way. You know, even though even though like I'm still on this trajectory, I still can't take my foot off the gas because I know where I'm coming from. You know, you always got to remind yourself. You know, they themselves always got to remind themselves that, hey, you can't be passive. You know, you can't. You see something, you go after. Like for example, you see a chick, she looks good. You want to talk to her? Go talk to her.
Shoot
What's the
your
worst can
shot.
happen? What's the worst can happen? You know, the worst thing that can happen is that she shoots you down or get rejected. Good, because rejection is a part of life. You know, until a lot of times you don't have to. You can't go through these mental hoops. And I'm not just talking about shooting your shots, but mental hoops in like, okay, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if, this, you don't gotta overthink it. Just go, you know. It's not like you're just go, going, jumping in the deep end without a life jacket. You just gotta go.
Go for it.
You
I
know,
like
that's why
that.
it's important. That's why it's important. Like for example, networking with people. You can't be passive if you want to network with people, or build or get new friends, you know. So I think that putting yourself out there constantly, consistently, that carries you a long way.
Facts. You speaking facts, man. And I greatly appreciate you sitting down, have this conversation with me. It's been great to learn more about your story. Definitely looking forward to following your journey this season. I'm wishing you a healthy season with plenty PRs. Definitely looking forward to seeing you rock that Jamaica jersey. Got the Olympics coming up, so I'm wishing you the best, man.
Yeah, I'm wishing you, yeah, for sure. Thank you. Wishing you the best on the growth of your channel as well, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You definitely have all of our support. I'm going to continue to follow your journey. But that is it for us here on Trackletics Live. See y'all next episode. Peace.